Year 2 is the perfect time to buy rookies that may have disappointed you the year before, and I'm here to give you 5 of the sophomores most likely to break out, and you can buy low right now, right here on the Fast Draft channel. All right, I'm going to jump right into it. A player that's been polarizing. A lot of people have told you to sell. Well, I'm telling you to buy. It's Odunze. Now, I know things for him might seem crowded. They just drafted Luther Burden. DJ Moore's still there. Colston Loveland just got drafted. I'm here to tell you that he's the only receiver who's a pure X. It's not that he can't play in the slot, but he has a role that is more clearly defined than DJ Moore, Luther Burden, and Colston Loveland. If you're still holding on to Cole Kmet, I'm sorry, I think that time is over. More importantly, Odunze didn't have that disappointing of a season. He had almost 100 targets in an offense that was coached by Shane Waldron, who we know was problematic. As a matter of fact, once he left, the entire offense got better. So when you have a rookie that needs to develop, and he needs to develop next to a rookie quarterback in a dysfunctional system, I'm okay with the 700 plus yards that he got, and especially considering how many targets were in that offense, because Keenan Allen was still there as well. In our flex 4 ADP, draft 6, start 4, flexes only, right now, he's going around players like Travis Hunter, Caleb Johnson, Chris Olave. I like all of those at cost, but remember, all of these are in the 60s. So these are someone that you're getting with your last pick, and this is someone that you can get in more than one draft to give yourself a little bit of variance that has high upside. The real value in Dynasty right now, wide receiver 19. He's going around Rashee Rice. I know that a lot of people like Rashee Rice, so I'm not going to tell you to make that swap. Xavier Worthy, I would make that move to go get Odunze. George Pickens, 10 times out of 10, I would rather have Odunze. DJ Moore on the same team, older. Clearly that coaching staff doesn't like him as much. I'm sending him to go get Odunze. He's incredibly affordable. Moreover, you could buy him with draft picks right now. Redraft. Now we're talking your regular season-long office leagues or in Bestball. He's going after George Pickens and Deebo Samuel. And those are player profilers rankings. So if you see this value somewhere else, there's a clear player that you need to target. We don't even know how healthy Brandon Ayuk is, and he's going around that same range. No matter what format right now, Odunze should be someone that you're targeting on your roster because the path to upside is just too juicy to pass up. And speaking of Brandon Ayuk and the 49ers, I want to talk about Ricky Pearsall. I know on the recent podcast with Daniel Harms, we talked about how Jauan Jennings is a buy. Well, Ricky Pearsall is as well. Right now, flex 4 ADP. He's actually going after Jennings and around Waddle and Courtland Sutton. Again, if you're playing best ball, especially in a tournament like this where you're only starting 4, you want a little bit of variance, so you want to pick and choose different players from different buckets. So I wouldn't mind getting Jauan Jennings, and I wouldn't mind getting Ricky Pearsall here, especially when you consider this was a first round pick from a team who knows how to develop their talent, and he got shot and injured. He didn't have opportunity to do much until the second half of the season, where he started slow after not having a camp. And then towards the tail end, we saw what he could really do, especially using him in the slot, especially moving him around with George Kittle and Jauan Jennings. And I want to point out that we don't know just how healthy Brandon Ayuk is, or just how great that relationship is, especially after that holdout, then coming in, not playing well for not being in during the offseason, and then getting injured after playing poorly. Just a lot of factors there for the 49ers that if you can get a second-year player that was a first-round wide receiver, go ahead and take him around this range. Savings, even better in Dynasty. If we like Jauan Jennings at wide receiver 44, like it is over at Player Profiler, Courtland Sutton and Jaden Higgins. Jaden Higgins belongs in here, but in Dynasty, you got a 24-year-old wide receiver going around the same age as Courtland Sutton and his age 29, Jauan Jennings on the same team at age 27. What are we doing here? That's a clear value discrepancy. So whether you're going to be doing startups, whether you already finished your rookie drafts and you're looking to fill in some holes, Ricky Pearsall is someone that you can get for wide receiver 3 prices that has wide receiver 2, maybe even wide receiver 1 some weeks upside. Even in your full best ball tournaments and redraft, he's in the shadow realm right now. Josh Downs, Michael Pittman, 2 players on the same team on a bad offense. Again, Jaden Higgins there. Arguably, you could say that right here is a juicy spot for you to get a wide receiver 3, even wide receiver 4, depending on your build, and have high upside. Excellent zone to shop in. I know the 49ers are a bit of a shaky offense right now, but that shouldn't be the reason, especially in Dynasty, to fade some of these younger players who have a clear path to upside. And I wouldn't want to call it excuse, but context as to why they may have had disappointing seasons rather than they just weren't getting targets. And if you like content like this, hit the like, subscribe button. And if you want to get in on more best ball action, or if you want to keep up on the latest Dynasty news, comment. I'll send you a link. I'll get you in on Fast Draft. My code JAG right here on the screen will give you a $50 deposit match where you can get in on the latest best ball action. New means that a lot of these ADPs are fresh and a lot of the normies are in there, and it's incredibly exploitable. So download, use code JAG, get in on the fun today. All right, that's enough paying bills. We'll hop right back into it. I'm here to give you a running back that's a second-year player, Trey Benson. Started off slow. We prayed for James Conner's downfall. Didn't happen. Now, I'm not doing it again this year, but we have to factor in that James Conner is getting older, and they did spend draft capital on a running back on a rebuilding team. So if we take what Trey Benson did when he started to figure things out towards the tail end of last season, this is someone right now who on Fast Draft is going at 108. That means people aren't even drafting him often. Less than 1% rostership. Going around Rashad Bateman, who I like. We're still drafting Taysom Hill. Taj Brooks. This is an easy exploitable ADP that you can get with one of your last picks. Let's talk about the gamesmanship here. When you can only draft 6 players, this is someone that no one else is drafting right now that you can get with a throwaway pick that can give you high upside. Moreover, gives you variance and roster diversity that no one else has right now. So if you're one of the first people that are in on Fast Drafts, this is one of the easiest ADPs to give you an advantage and have that chance to basically print off money for yourself. But this doesn't just stop there with Trey Benson. Remember his profile. He has size and speed. This is someone who could get carries one injury away and be a bell cow right away, even in a redraft. And that translates over into Dynasty. Player profilers, RB33, going after Tony Pollard. Still around Isaac Orendo, Aaron Jones going around that same range. You can essentially buy him with a throw-in. If you're a big hero RB guy or a zero RB guy, these are the types of players that you want to target because they're relatively cheap and there's a clear path to a big boom. Same thing for season-long redraft and full best ball. Tyjae Spears, Isaac Orendo, Travis Etienne. At the RB40 range, if you want, again, roster diversity, there are worse players to bet on that others may not have. If you need running back help, there are worse buys out there. Now, this next one is a little bit cheating because he is a bit pricey, but it's Ladd McConkey. This is technically supposed to be buy low, but I'm going to give you some strategy on how you can get these high-end elite assets for low. Right now, Flex 4 ADP going around 21. This is low-end wide receiver 1 where if you think about the targets that he earned as a rookie, now they got Trey Harris, now they have Tyler Conklin, Oronde Gadsden, now they even have a more potent rushing attack. Justin Herbert, who is someone we saw towards the end of last season, specifically in the playoffs, have a meltdown. That was mainly because all he had to throw to after Ladd McConkey was Quentin Johnston and Will Dissly, who both dropped passes. One of those passes went for an interception. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that Justin Herbert is a bad QB. If anything, he's a big reason why Ladd McConkey is a buy. A lot of people want to put Ladd McConkey in a hole. He's only a few pounds lighter than Garrett Wilson, and they're the same height, play a similar role. That means Trey Harris can play deep. Quentin Johnston can play around the line of scrimmage and get yak where he's comfortable. And Ladd McConkey can play at all 3 levels of the field and gain separation. They can move around the formation to get even more targets. Moreover, get a lot of these high leverage touches closer to the red zone now that they have a real offense, now that they built that offensive line. So when you have someone who is going at 21 in a tournament like Flex 4, you can get these high-end running backs back to back, or just get one and then still get a high-end wide receiver and then go straight running back later. It's super easy to get you a diverse build if you want one of these high-end wide receivers. He's the cheapest one. Now for Dynasty, it's a similar thing here. I kind of like this entire range of wide receivers. We have Drake London, Garrett Wilson, Jackson Smith and Jigba. These are players with high upside where, let's say if you're playing super flex or single QB, you could secure other positions, especially an important position like quarterback in super flex, and still have a high-end, high-leverage wide receiver. I hyper-target Lat McConkey because he's someone that you can get as your wide receiver 2 with high-end wide receiver 1 build, or go hero RB or have a strong quarterback and still secure one of fantasy football's best positions. Now, I cheated with giving you someone like Lat McConkey who isn't exactly a buy low, so I'm going to give you one of the lowest buys you can get, which is Blake Corum. Now, I know Kyron Williams is there. I know there's a lot of Jarquez Hunter hype. I'm taking both of those pieces of information, and here's why I'm using that to bet on Blake Corum. I don't think they're that committed to Kyron Williams. He's got a contract that's coming up, and they've invested a lot in their defense. They've invested a lot in wide receiver, or they'll need to. They're still going to need a quarterback sooner than later once Matt Stafford is done, whether they're going to do that in free agency or they're going to draft that. Why would they want to spend on Kyron Williams, who, let's be honest, he's been very, very good and reliable for the Rams, but probably is a replaceable talent. That's why they keep double dipping at running back year in and year out. Enter Blake Corum, who had day 2 draft capital. This is someone in flex 4 ADP who is 116 right now. That's the shadow realm where no one is really drafting him. You can make a high leverage bet on a player who's an injury away to stepping into a starting role, and people aren't buying because they're so hyped about Jarquez Hunter right now. Blake Corum was an incredibly productive player on a championship roster, and we're acting like that's nothing. In Dynasty, RB45, redraft, RB59. Basically a throw-in if you want to trade for him in Dynasty, and in redraft, you could get him as like your RB5 or 6, depending on how you draft, or if you're going to do 0 RB or hero RB, the perfect dream player that you should be targeting. He's a tough runner, doesn't quite have the receiving profile that someone like Kyron Williams has, but if they were willing to take him so highly, I think that says more about the future for the Rams, and more importantly, the future for Kyron Williams with this team in the future next season. Now, there are a lot of factors to go in for him to have immediate high-end production, let's say like someone like Kyron Williams has, but for Dynasty, that's a bet I'm willing to make and stash, especially at cost. So those were 5 players. As always, like, subscribe. If you have any Dynasty trade questions, any fantasy questions, feel free to comment those below. I always try to get back to you with information. I'm Jagger May. Feel free to use my code if you want to get on Fast Draft. Love you. See you on the next one.
So I thought I needed.